Our live look in the Granite State. This is our Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. I hope I'm saying that. Bretton Woods?
You got it.
New Hampshire Earth Can. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Trump and DeSantis both hitting the all-important primary state this week.
Yes, and our national correspondent Mike Carter just got a one-on-one with Florida governor and the presidential hopeful. He joins us now live from Concord, New Hampshire. Looking forward to seeing this. And a fun fact, this is your state. You're from New Hampshire, so you really get the voters there, Mike, too.
That's right, guys. We're about an hour south, down 93 from Bretton Woods right now. Great resort area, great for skiing, great in the summer as well. But, of course, we're talking politics today. Here in Concord, the state capital, Governor Ron DeSantis making campaign stop here at the Windmill Diner here in Concord this morning, talking to voters, trying to get out that messaging. We're obviously in the middle of another campaign reset for the DeSantis camp. So is that messaging reaching voters? In our exclusive one-on-one interview, we talked with DeSantis about how does he get those Trump or bust voters, those voters that say they're only ever going to vote for Donald Trump. How does he siphon some of those supporters over to his side? Also, how would he handle the issue of abortion if he became president? Would he support a national abortion ban? And finally, does he support the impeachment inquiries into the current president, Joe Biden? Take a look. All right, Governor Ron DeSantis, welcome to the Granite State.
Great to be here.
Well, thanks for talking to us. You know, you're here in Concord today, the state capital, getting a feel for the voters. A lot of folks we talked to still undecided. Siena College poll out this week shows you down nationally 37 points, but here in New Hampshire, a much tighter race. Recent University of New Hampshire polls shows you're only down 14 points. So I guess my question is, what's working for you here in New Hampshire? How do you take that message nationally, and how do you peel off some of the support from the former president who, you know, you have a lot of voters who say, I'm Trump or bust. How do you get their support?
Right.
How do you win them over?
Well, I think you make a good point. This is not a national primary, so people will do a national poll, but we don't vote nationally in Republican primary. You do Iowa, then New Hampshire, and then South Carolina. So we're on the ground focusing on those voters, and you're exactly right. Those early states, it's much tighter. It's a competitive race. And so I think what we have to do is, you know, most of these Republicans, you know, they know I'm governor. They know we've done a good job in Florida. They're happy with seeing Florida do well, but they don't know a lot about my biography, you know, being a Navy veteran, an Iraq veteran. They don't necessarily know about me being a father with 3 young kids, and they don't necessarily know about all the accomplishments we've had in Florida. Like, yeah, they know me for standing up for COVID, which was a huge issue. They know me for standing up for the kids against Disney, but, you know, a lot of them don't know we've paid off a quarter of our state debt since I've been governor. We've cut taxes by billions and billions of dollars. We have universal school choice, 50-year low in the crime rate, all those things. And then, what's your vision for the country? Okay, if you become president, you know, what issues are you going to tackle? And when we get in front of voters and we sketch out that vision, you know, we get a lot of support. So yesterday we announced our economic program. I had a number of guys come up to me saying, you won me over. Thanks. So you just got to do that. And, you know, New Hampshire voters and Iowa voters, they want to kick the tires. They want to see you. They want you to have to earn their vote. You are not entitled to be nominated. You're not entitled to votes. You've got to earn them, and we're going to earn them. And so we've been in New Hampshire for 4 days. You know, we're going to be back a lot over these next 6 months. Same with Iowa, same with South Carolina, earning the vote.
Part of that biography, you're a former congressman. If you were currently in the House now, would you shut down the government to cut spending, and would you look into impeachment for Joe Biden?
This spending is out of control, and I think the reason why it's gotten to this point is because Republicans are so worried of, quote, a government shutdown. First of all, the government doesn't actually shut down. They take non-essential workers and then they don't work. But why do we have non-essential workers to begin with? I think it's ridiculous. And, you know, their inquiry into Biden, I think that they should pursue that. The corruption is just incredible with what's happened there. And I kind of think like, okay, Hunter is getting millions and millions of dollars just because he's a great guy. No. I don't buy that. He does these paintings. Someone's paying him $1 million. You know, my 6-year-old daughter does better paintings than him. I don't see people paying her $1 million for him. So it stinks to high heavens, and they should get answers for all of that.
Tim Scott, former Vice President Mike Pence say they will support a national abortion ban. You obviously signed the 6-week abortion ban, the heartbeat bill in Florida. When it comes to a national abortion ban, would you support that? What is your guiding principle when it comes to abortion?
So we signed the heartbeat bill in Florida, which I'm the only candidate running that has actually delivered pro-life protections and got those enacted. You know, a lot of the other people talk, a lot of that. And so as president, I'm pro-life. I'll come down on the side of pro-life. But let's just be clear here about with all this. Some people talk, I act.
And one of the biggest detractors of the Florida governor in recent days has been Republican strategist Ed Rollins, who was at one time in the DeSantis camp, a supporter of Ron DeSantis for president. No longer. He now says Ron DeSantis is too focused on those culture war issues. It's not resonating with voters. Rollins says even the GOP has a good chance of losing the House next year in 2024. Here's the governor's response to those criticisms.
You know, a lot of these people, you know, go back a few years, what they were saying about me as governor. You know, when I'm standing up against Fauci, for example, keeping Florida open, I was being attacked. All these political consultants were saying, oh, the governor DeSantis, you know, he's done. He doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. And yet we stood strong. The state prospered and we won re-election by 20 percentage points. No Republican governor candidate has ever had a better victory in the history of Florida. And we brought in supermajorities of our Florida legislature. So I think a lot of the naysayers, you know, they're going to chirp, and that's fine. I'm confident, you know, when I'm the nominee, we are going to be able to galvanize a majority to win both the Electoral College, expand our House majorities, and add the seats in the U.S. Senate to have a Republican majority.
So right now, Ron DeSantis is really looking for that one moment to really capture the minds, the hearts and minds of voters in these early states, like right here in New Hampshire. He'll get a real good chance of doing that about 3 weeks' time at that first Republican debate, a debate that many expect Donald Trump not to show up to. So will that codify his image in the minds of New Hampshire voters? We'll wait and see. Back to you guys.
Yeah, great interview, Mike. Appreciate the reporting. Great job out there. Mike Carter live in Concord, New Hampshire, his home state. Granite State, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
That's
Great
right.
stuff.
Live free or die.